I have to ask you both, though, how important is this film now in 2017?
Well, it is critical, but I think incredibly, it always is. Incredibly, I mean, it's kind of a crucial moment right now for this idea, but I think there's never a time, and hopefully there will never be a time, when being a little kinder and a little more thoughtful isn't appropriate. Now, right now, we need a whole lot more kind and a whole lot more thoughtful. But I think you could always, in the best of circumstances, find a smidge more goodness.
And how did you relate to this movie, my man? Did you get to pick it up and be like, is this something you've experienced, or maybe some of your friends in school maybe have experienced?
Not that I know of my friends being picked on, but I remember being picked on because I'm pretty short for my age. I know there's like second graders that are taller than me. So
Your growth spurt's coming, babe.
it's coming soon. It's coming soon.
How old are you now?
I'm 11.
So I'm 22, right? So I'm not much older than you. I'm 6'3" now, and I only got to 6'3" when I turned 16. Before that, I was 5'5". It's coming, boy, I promise you. Don't worry about it. You're gonna be a big boy one day. What was the meaning of him going into grade 5? Is that something now that it's common in our generation?
Well, I think I've heard RJ speak to this a little bit, and I do believe from my own experience as a person who was once in 5th grade. Can you believe that? And a mother.
I'm in 6th grade, so I can't say that.
So you're past it now.
I have a 5th grader now, and I have 2 older kids who obviously have sailed through 5th grade. But it is one of those grades that is very, there's something about it. A lot of things change, a lot of things shift. A lot of girls get super tall and boys don't, or boys get super tall and other boys don't. And it's just kind of, everybody's kind of wobbling around trying to find their footing. And the workload becomes greater in school, and things just really start seeming real. Like it is on in 5th grade. And so I think it's a great template for a huge shift in Augie's life to enter into school at this time that everybody's sort of like a baby deer on ice, and then how people respond to that feeling of vulnerability.
When we look at Julian's character, obviously you two had possibly the most hatred towards him, but can we feel some sympathy for Julian's character?
Well, I know I can like. Bryce is amazing.
Bryce is a sweet boy.
Yes. But Julian, nah. No, but Bryce is a really good actor. He's so nice, but he can be so mean.
As Julian.
I feel bad for saying that he can act mean.
Well, it's high praise because he is such a sweet boy, and he did such a great job as playing Julian, who's not very nice. And I think you can be enormously empathetic, and the way Stephen creates the story is to say, okay, here's the good guy, here's the bad guy, but it's all for a reason. It's not like he just decides, I'm going to be mean to this boy. You can see from his parents, you start to get informed where it's coming from and how it's manifesting itself. And I think it's really, especially, that's why I'm talking about being so untethered in 5th grade, it comes from being deeply vulnerable and not knowing how to express that or how to manage that. So in Julian's case, he expresses it by trying to create this false sense of power.
Bravado almost that he had. I just want to close it up. Can you guys give us like a little PSA, a public service announcement, just to people out there who are either struggling with bullies or maybe think they even are a bully? What is it that you guys would both like to say to them?
What's a public service announcement?
Yeah.
Well, just like a way of talking to people to say, don't be afraid, stand up for what's right.
I have something to say.
Okay.
When I was being bullied, I told my parents about it, and I just want to say telling your parents or any adult you trust is a really good idea, because my mom told me that she never would want me to carry anything negative on my shoulders alone. And she also told me to kill him with kindness. And if that never worked, just ignore it. And that always worked.
That is said so beautifully, I couldn't add to it.
Could you have said it any better?
I couldn't really, and to speak is the most important thing, just to keep your voice even in a negative situation like that, and tell somebody, even if it's just your best pal, so that somebody knows and somebody can kind of support you in that emotional turmoil.
Can you guess the last film that I cried as much as what I did to Wonder?
Marley and
Yes, thank you very much. So I don't cry at films ever, okay? Marley and Me took my heart out and juggled it. Wonder took my heart out, threw it on the floor, swished it, 3-pointer, the lot, okay? I was in tears the whole time. But I have to ask you both, how do you truly relate to this film? Was there been an experience in your own life, somebody in your own family that's gone through something similar that this film really stood out to you both?
I think for me, being a parent and just, that instinct to kind of want to protect your kids and, want them to just sort of, not have to deal with anything unpleasant, there's only so much you can do. So then imagining somebody like Augie who, is really having to contend with people having, a reaction to him just on the way he looks. That was just kind of a heartbreaking thing for me. So it was very easy to sort of have that instinct of not wanting him to go to school, How
about yourself, Izabela?
Yeah, I think being both an advocate for bullying prevention and an older sister had helped me, relate to Via and have a great appreciation for the film.
So we got to see a really cool, obviously the way it's written as well is through the eyes of the different characters, Via being one of them. Why do you think, or how do you think that really exaggerated and helped the story and get the message across, seeing it through the eyes of the different children?
I think that seeing it through the eyes of different characters was really beneficial because you speak to all audiences. You're not just speaking to one type of person. So everybody can see themselves in each character, at least one of them. And I think that helps.
Or multiple.
Or multiple.
I mean, you can relate to different things. Yeah, for sure.
I was reading up as well, and I was talking to Raquel, and she said that Julian's chapter was something that was published later. Do you think that would have made much of a difference if it was in the movie as well? We obviously got to see the slight bit with his parents, but if we got to see a whole chapter of Julian.
How could it not make a difference? Just sort of, understanding and helping to sort of, and that's probably, part of, I hesitate to say message, but, in the movie that sort of, if you do take the time to sort of get to know people, we tend to, have a lot more similarities than differences.
Do you also want to say that this wasn't only in regards to showing children that they kind of need to be better towards each other, but also finally seeing a teacher like Mr. Brown? When was the last time we saw a teacher that was so wonderful? I mean, we had like a 13 Reasons Why recently, and the teachers push everything under the rug. Now to actually have this teacher who stands up to things, how important is that?
Well, I think it's just, it's an incredibly rare thing to have a great teacher. I mean, growing up, I was lucky to go to good schools, but really good teacher that, I remember you only have a handful. So, it's lucky when you find one, and not just in school, in life also.
Yeah.
I want to wrap it up nicely with you guys. I just want to do a quick PSA to anybody who's going through bullying, suffering of bullying. Is there anything that you would like to say to them? Speak up, listen, help out, etc.
Yeah, I think what I would say to anyone who is, being bullied or seeing it, to speak up and to also realize that you're, not alone, and that's why you have to speak up.
Yeah, I would say to definitely speak up and stand up for others. And if you don't feel that you have a voice yourself, then to seek help and to realize your uniqueness and how special you are.
Thank you.